Everyone said she was insane, but she was secretly saving his life. He fed and cared for Feng Chifu every day, but Feng Chifu would always spit in his food. The villagers all cursed Wang Shitu for being foolish, a bachelor for half his life, picking up a crazy woman and treating her like a precious treasure. Wang Shitu was from the riverbank, an orphan with only a dilapidated thatched hut and a broken ferry boat. He was 30 and still unmarried. Half a year ago, he rescued several women floating on the water at the ferry. They seemed insane, hiding from people and eating dry grass when hungry. Kind-hearted Wang Shitu took them home, feeding them food and water. The women couldn't speak properly, sometimes crying, sometimes laughing and screaming at night. The villagers said it was bad luck and advised him to throw them back into the river to avoid trouble. Wang Shitu wouldn't listen. Every day after returning from the riverbank, he would first clean and comb the women's hair, giving them the leftovers first, while he chopped cornbread for himself. Some people laughed at him, saying, "Shitu, you've married a tyrant. She'll drag you down sooner or later." Wang Shitu only muttered, "She's a life too. I can't live without her." Less than half a month later, strange things began to happen. Every time Wang Shitu ate, the woman would spit into her bowl whenever she came over. At first, she thought it was a mental breakdown and didn't pay much attention, but it became more and more frequent. Whenever she picked up her bowl, the woman would rush over and spit, knocking the bowl over and pointing at her while crying and screaming. The villagers were even more disgusted. "Look at what kind of child you've raised. She doesn't know what's good for her," they said. "Just beat her up and kick her out." Wang Shitu still didn't make a fuss. She would just take her food a little further away and get another bowl for herself. She realized that the woman only spit into her food. She wouldn't touch anyone else's food. After a while, Wang Shidu started having stomach aches at night, so bad that she would break out in a cold sweat. She also felt weak during the day. She thought it was just a cold and drank some herbal medicine, but it didn't help at all. Until one day, when she was rowing her boat, her vision went black, and she almost fell into the river. She was pulled up by people on the bank and realized something was wrong. That night, she pretended to be asleep. The woman tiptoed to the stove, lifted the pot lid, and sprinkled a handful of dark, murky stuff into the rice she was to eat the next day. Wang Shitu felt a chill and sat up abruptly. "You're trying to harm me," she cried. The woman trembled in fear, spilling the stuff all over the floor, babbling incoherently, tears streaming down her face, waving her hands frantically. Wang Shitu was both angry and chilled. He had given her his heart, only to be betrayed in return. Her eyes red, she roared, "How have I ever treated you badly? Why are you doing this to me?" The woman paced frantically, then suddenly rushed to the back of the thatched hut and broke open a wooden box from under the sloping bed. She had hidden the box carefully, never letting anyone touch it. She opened the box, took out a crumpled piece of paper, and handed it to Wang Shitu. Wang Shitu couldn't read, so the woman took her hand and wrote words on her palm, stroke by stroke. The more she felt it, the stiffer she became. The woman wasn't crazy, nor was she a vagrant. Her name was Su Qing, the daughter of the owner of the town's pharmacy. A batch of medicinal herbs in her family's possession had been tampered with and adulterated with poison. Selling them would kill people. Her father refused to betray his conscience and collude with the bad guys, and as a result, he was targeted and murdered to silence her. When she escaped, she was chased and forced to jump into the river and feign madness, drifting all the way to the ferry. She pretended to be insane to avoid being recognized by the bad guys. She approached Wang Shitu because she thought he was honest and reliable and could temporarily hide him. The spitting in her food and the things she sprinkled in the mud weren't meant to harm her. They were antidotes she carried with her. Her pursuers had already poisoned the well water at the ferry, and the villagers who drank it gradually felt unwell, but no one paid attention. Wang Shitu drank the well water every day, and without taking the antidote, he would eventually succumb to the poison. She spat in order to make Wang Shitu eat too fast, trying to force her to eat less of the poisoned food, and sprinkled the herbs to secretly give him the antidote. Wang Shitu was stunned when he heard this. She had always thought she was taking in a madwoman, never imagining she was secretly saving her life. Just then, footsteps sounded outside the courtyard gate, and several burly men in black burst in. "Miss Sue, don't hide. Come back with us, or the whole village will be wiped out." The bad guys had finally found her. Wang Shitu shielded Su Qin behind him, grabbed a carrying pole from the doorway, and declared, "Anyone who dares touch him will have to get past me first." Outnumbered, Wang Shitu was no match for them and was quickly knocked to the ground, fists raining down on him. Su Qin frantically rushed to protect him, but was kicked away, slamming into a wall, blood trickling from her mouth. Just then, a series of urgent shouts came from the ferry crossing. Several men from the village who were on good terms with Wang Shitu rushed in, hose and carrying poles in hand. It turned out that a few days ago, Wang Shitu had noticed something amiss with the well water and had secretly mentioned it to some villagers who regularly traveled by boat, advising them to drink less well water and fetch fresh water from the river instead. The group of men were skeptical, but having heard the fight and seeing the men in black's suspicious appearance, they immediately called for reinforcements. The men in black, caught off guard by the sudden appearance of so many people, were thrown into disarray. In the chaos, the leader of the men in black was suddenly pinned down from behind. A man in a long robe entered, followed by several ants. The man approached Su Qin, bowed, and said, "Miss Sue, I am the head constable of the county government, holding the title of Magistrate Feng. I have been investigating the medicinal herb poisoning case for a long time. You previously entrusted a merchant at the ferry crossing to deliver a letter, and we followed the clues all the way here." Su Qin was stunned. He had been acting erratically, too afraid to openly protect the border, so he had secretly slipped a blood-written plea for help to a regular merchant while crossing the ferry at Mangshidu. He himself had given up hope, but the authorities had actually arrived. The men in black were instantly subdued and taken away one by one. The villagers all gathered at the door, dumbfounded. No one expected that the woman who seemed crazy all the time, spitting into Mang Shida's food, was actually a respectable woman being chased by bad guys and had almost caused the entire village to be poisoned. After they were safe, Su Qi knelt down and wiped the ash from Mang Shida's face. I'm sorry, I've been pretending to be crazy to deceive you, and even made you complain. Mang Shirtu shook his head. If you hadn't lied to me, I would have been killed long ago. Su Qin was going back to town. His family's pharmacy had been preserved by the government. The bad guys had been punished, and his father was safe. He took out a bag of silver and gave it to Mang Shirtu. Take this. Repair the house, buy some building blocks, and live a good life from now on. Mang Shirtu pushed the silver back. I'm not keeping it for the money. I just want you to be safe and sound. Su Qin's eyes reddened. He took off the safety amulet from his neck and hung it around Mang Shida's neck. Keep this. Wherever I am in the future, I will always remember the man who risked his life to protect me at the ferry. On the day he left, Mang Shirtu didn't see him off. He continued ferrying people across the river. But from then on, every time he rowed the boat, he would touch the safety knot on his chest. No one in the village laughed at his naivete anymore. They all said Mang Shirtu was kind-hearted. He saved others and saved himself. Kind-hearted people will not be let down. You save someone for a moment, and they will remember you for a lifetime, regardless of their poverty or circumstances. Treating others sincerely will always be rewarded. Don't be greedy or cruel. Don't do anything against your conscience. Guarding your conscience is better than anything else. The more ordinary a person is, the more likely they are to weather storms with a kind heart.